CAN TV invites you to embark on an extraordinary journey to discover the diversity, beauty, and richness of Latino culture at the 41st Chicago Latino Film Festival, April 3rd through April 14th. Join us on this magical cinematic journey. See brand new films from Argentina, Mexico, Spain, Puerto Rico, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, and other Latin American countries at the landmark Century Center Theaters in Chicago. No passports are required to enjoy this multinational journey. Just come to the theater and immerse yourself in Latino culture, all through the magic of cinema. Presented by the International Latino Cultural Center of Chicago and sponsored by CAN TV. For more information, visit ChicagoLatinoFilmFestival.org.
Greetings and welcome to the special program about the 41st Chicago Latino Film Festival. My name is Alejandro Riera. I am the communications manager for the festival. The festival will be taking place from April 3rd to the 14th in 3 separate locations. The Davis Theater in Lincoln Square for both opening and closing night, Instituto Cervantes in downtown Chicago for the centerpiece screening, and last but certainly not least, most of the festival will be taking place at the landmark Century Center in Lincoln Park. We're joined tonight by my colleagues, Pepe Vargas, Executive Director of the International Latino Cultural Center and founder and producer of the Chicago Latino Film Festival, and Sandra Bernal, our programming manager. Let's start talking a little bit about what's different about the festival this year.
It's a question that usually comes up every time. And the answer is nothing and everything. Films. And actually the best films we can really select for the festival. The quantity of submissions keeps growing. So Sandra and I have and the film selection committee, and we have come down to 51 feature films and 30 shorts. So everything is the same, films, people, this energy that is there for people to really come, share, go home happy and learn something, be uplifted. That is what we have been doing for 40 years, and this is our 41st anniversary of the Latino Film Festival. One thing that is important and is basically what we abide to. We really pledge that every film festival has to be better than the one before. We had a phenomenal 40th anniversary of the film festival, and the challenge how we can really make sure that the 41st is even better. And yet there will be another challenge, that the 42nd is phenomenal, really better than the 41. So that's where we move. And that is the way of being.
Sandra, this is your first year as programming manager. Tell us a little bit about your experience, because I know it's being a steep learning curve.
Yeah, that's true, Alejandro. And I'm very honored because this is not the first year that I'm part of the festival, but I was part of the hospitality. And that was a beautiful part of the festival. But this experience of helping and supporting the programming has been really an honor, because I've had the challenge to learn a lot. I've been programming different kind of events, cultural events, but not film festivals before. So this is definitely an important step for me personally, but professionally has been a fantastic road.
Before we go to the movies, one quick follow-up question. Tell us a little bit about that programming experience with other cultural events.
Okay, so in terms of programming as a whole, like in general, it's quite the same in terms of thinking about representation and how you can handle different themes. I used to work for book fairs before. So in terms of trying to find different approaches to, in that case, literature, in this case, filming. So in general, it's the same structure, but definitely each sector has its own challenges, and that's what I am learning. So yes.
Perfect. Let's turn now to our first trailer. We want to start with the opening night film, Dear Gentlemen, Estimados Señores, a film about the history of women's struggle to earn the right to vote in Colombia. In the middle of the 20th century, Colombia was one of the last countries to grant women the right to vote. So let's take a look at that trailer, Dear Gentlemen.
Si le damos a las mujeres el derecho a votar, vamos a llevar a este país al caos.
¿Peligroso? ¿En qué sentido? Y en las calles violencia, hordas de violencia.
No, nosotras tienen que morirse para que hablen del sufragio. ¿Cuántas cosas tenemos que demostrar para que se den cuenta de que somos iguales?
Si es tan importante, señorita, ¿por qué ningún periódico ha publicado eso?
Pruebas. Necesitamos pruebas.
Pero solamente a ustedes se les ocurre poner a votar a una campesina analfabeta.
No tienen conocimiento ni intelectual ni moral.
Aquí no estamos debatiendo la legitimidad de la mujer para elegir, señor.
No, es que no es el momento. No es el momento.
La única mujer que ha vencido a un hombre fue una yegua en un derbi.
Nos llaman perros, yeguas, inestables.
Que nada tienen que estar haciendo aquí.
No se olviden, señores, que no son solamente hijos de varón. Y esa que usted llama loca, lo engendró. ¿Deberíamos tomarnos este país?
¿De verdad usted quiere liberar una fuerza electoral de esas condiciones?
Se van a llenar de motivos y nos vamos a volver a quedar sin nada.
Somos 325,000 mujeres más que hombres. A los hombres jamás se les ha sometido a semejante prueba.
Si había algo que probar, lo hiciste, hermana.
¿Qué quiere que hagamos?
Que salgan a manifestarse.
Señores, la ley es la ley.
Cobardes.
Señor presidente, hora de retomar la sesión.
All right, it's time for you to tell our public why Dear Gentlemen. What made Dear Gentlemen the perfect film to start the festival this year, Pepe?
Every year we look for something that really put people in the mood of watching as many films as they can. And this is an opportunity for us to really do our very best thinking, what do we put here? And we found in this film a lot of the things that really deserve to be shared right to open the film festival. It's funny, but it's profound. It's dealing with something that has been hidden for so long. And then there's a woman, actually she's a writer, an actress, and now a film director that comes and put her talent in and put together a story that was there, that people don't care, that is forgotten. And so bring up to, and without really, when I look at the film, it wasn't pretentious. Here is learned about history. No, it was given in a way that people really get it. And then start appreciating them and admiring them. And I hear when the film was premiered in Cali, in Colombia, people did not ask questions. They just applauded for a standing ovation, and because it gives people and frees people there to see beauty and history merging together.
This is one film, Sandra, you were chasing after. And we're getting that film straight from its theatrical run in Colombia. Why were you so enthusiastic about trying to secure it for the festival?
Well, I think Dear Gentlemen is one of those stories that needs to be shared. And at this point, when we are feeling this, a lot of women and empowerment of women, Estimados Señores and Dear Gentlemen shows and tells a story that had happened 70 years ago with a strong woman who wanted to fight for her rights. And she wanted to do it, and also this story, as Pepe mentioned, was forgotten. So I like because it requires the representation and women that have been strength and strong for their ideals in the past, and I think that's a good moment to show them again and to bring them back to the present.
Speaking of strong women, and not that I planned it this way, our next film is a documentary called Norita, executive produced by Jane Fonda, Naomi Klein, and Gustavo Santaolalla, and it's about one of the co-founders of the Madres de las Plazas de Mayo, the organization that wanted to hold the feet of Argentina's dictatorship to the fire in trying to find out where their children had been disappeared to. Let's take a look.
In Argentina, the military was trained to intervene in political life, but then this coup was different.
Tengo uno de mis hijos desaparecido desde el 15 de abril de 1977.
Tienen que tener a los desaparecidos con vida porque así se los llevaron.
Era el intercambio ese, sí. Me llevaron mi hija, me llevaron mi hijo.
El pueblo dice que es mentira que existen desaparecidos y que el gobierno lógicamente niega.
Yo no estaba preparada para esto. Ninguna madre decía no salga a la calle, que le puede pasar lo mismo que le pasó al hijo. Parecía que me hundía en un abismo. Tengo que salir a buscarlo. Nos tildaban como comunistas o madres de comunistas, pero la mayoría éramos amas de casa. Las madres recorremos el mundo contando la historia de nuestros hijos. Nos dimos cuenta, las madres, después de 46 años, que fuimos un grupo de feministas de primer agua.
Norita is an indispensable figure in our political arena. She doesn't allow for a movement to be stagnant.
Hay una hermosa juventud que va siendo militante día a día y también nos realimentan a nosotras. Yo no era así, revolucionaria, riera como soy ahora, pero fui tomando conciencia a medida que salía a la calle.
The mothers themselves, they haven't stopped.
La ley será ley. Es una fiera, una leona. Es un compromiso interior que no lo puedo dejar, porque hay que seguir luchando.
Norita is our firefly.
So let's talk about Norita, Pepe. I know this was one of those documentaries that grabbed you from the get-go because you started talking about it to me in November.
I mean, that is the idea of the festival, give people the opportunity to see stories. And some are funny, and some are very dramatic, and some are very painful. Watching this documentary is really painful, and learning about the disappearance, the killings, and as a bad thing, on the other side, it created a movement of women fighting against the dictatorship and against everything, because nobody could really support them. So they kept going around the Plaza de Mayo without giving up, with the hope of finding their disappeared daughters and sons, and they did not give up. They kept going and going, and they were awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace, and the repression and the pain, and also the hope of finding them. And we have had several documents. There have been books and photo exhibitions and many documentaries about the theme and the situation. And this remains because focus in one person that really embodies the power of women when they unite, and really what inspired them was the hope to find their children and then their grandchildren. She died recently, but her legacy is still alive. And it happened in Argentina, but it's been everywhere. It happened in Afghanistan, happened in Mexico. The people disappear because they think by killing them or disappearing them, they will kill the problem, hide the problem, destroy everything. There's something that cannot be destroyed. The power of really going forward for peace and justice and equality.
Sandra, we have a far larger number of films by women this year than we did on the 40th anniversary, especially on the short side, but definitely on the feature side. I mean, what does that tell you about, what's happening in Latin America with women filmmakers?
Well, for me, Alejandro, it's an honor to be able to provide a platform for so many women in Latin America that have a lot of stories to share. And this year we are seeing a lot of women also not just telling stories as documentaries, but different kind of movies as well. I mean, historical movies, but also documentaries, but also even animation, which we have in our short films programming. So I think it's just women have always been there. We have always been there, but this is the moment when we show up the leadership that we need, and also to be on the stage showing the people all the things that we have to offer. And also, I like something very special, because this film festival, the Chicago Latino Film Festival, is the longest running Latino film festival in the United States. And I think that is a huge responsibility for us to provide the right information for the audience. And this is not just for Latino audience, this is for Chicago people, the people that live here in the city. So we are open, and we want to invite them all to come over, because this is Latino talent for Chicago.
Now that you mentioned shorts, I think it's time to turn our attention to the shorts program, but with one very special short, Paper Flower, the directorial debut of Chicago's very own Joe Miñoso, a veteran of Teatro Vista, although most of you will know him as Cruz in Chicago Fire. Let's take a look.
Sana, sana, colita de rana. Si me llevas Great America, no te pido más nada. I might ask you for other stuff later, so please take me to Great America.
It all adds up to Great America. Great America! We'll charm you back again and again.
Mommy, I want to go to Great America. It looks so cool.
No, está muy caro. Mejor juega con Wichito.
I know where you can go to Great America without any money. Really? All you have to do is draw a flower while thinking about where you want to go. You take that flower and then you plant it. If the next morning a flower grew where you planted it, that means you went there. Can I try? Did you go? Maybe.
So before we talk about Paper Flower, tell us a little bit about the shorts program this year. You alluded to it in the previous segment, but tell us a little bit more about the shorts program this year.
Well, Alejandro, this year the short film programs comes with a variety of genres, and that's something that I really want to highlight, because in features it's good to have different genres, but in short film this year we have animation, we have science fiction from the Caribbean, we have documentaries that have made in short film. We also have very dramatical, drama short films. So we have a variety. We have different things for everyone.
There are several films also on Alzheimer's disease, especially taken from told from the perspective of the caregiver. We also have a couple of LGBTQ themed shorts.
Yes.
But let's talk about Paper Flower. What is it about this short in particular, this short in particular that struck you?
Okay, so two things. In general, we have local talent that I'm going to talk about it later, but having Joey Miñoso, this is the world premiere for this short film, and we are proud of giving that platform to this short film, because it's super well directed, it's also very well done, but also calls the attention to something that is important for us at the moment, which is migration. And we need to be part of that conversation. And this conversation is happening in the city, in the country, and this short film goes directly to that. It's about family, it's about how the big decisions, land into a daily day of a family. So it's very emotional, but also brings the attention to the matters that we want to showcase as film festival.
You mentioned the Chicago connection. We have one feature-length film that's also world premiering at our festival.
Correct.
And then, but we also have these additional 2 shorts, if I'm not mistaken. Tell us about those 2 other shorts.
Well, yes. So in general, we have 4 directors from Chicago, which is something that I really want to highlight because there is local talent in the city, and the Chicago Latino Film Festival is also the platform for them. So we have the feature, What Rhymes with Magdalena, then we have Joey Miñazos, and then we have 2 other short, Hair and Dirty Business, which is a particular one because they had just 48 hours to do it. So it's experimental, but good. And also Hair, it's super local. It's community-based in terms of relationship between women around the beauty salon, which is quite fun and nice as well.
And it also features a who's who of every single Latina actress who's performing Chicago. I mean, you literally look at the list, it feels like an all-star cast.
Yes.
Funny enough, we're now talking about another film made by women.
Yes.
So that's something, and we are going to finish the segment with our closing night film, which is also directed by a woman. That seems to be the theme, the running theme of the festival this year. Reinas from Peru, which is the story of this mother who in the middle of the Fujimorazo, the time when Alberto Fujimori pretty much declared a coup d'etat in Peru, decided to come to the United States, but she needs a permission from her daughter's father, who has been estranged from them for a while, and the father takes advantage of the situation to try to become closer to his 2 daughters. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Taxi no es mi trabajo, pero en verdad soy actor.
Es que Carlos es muy creativo.
Papá.
Papá.
Denle un abrazo a su padre, reinas. Nos vemos uno de estos días, reinas, para estar juntos.
¿Dónde vives,
Ahí, tengo jacuzzi. Me acuerdo de la última vez que vine, me corrí una ola de 15 metros.
Papá, es agente secreto.
¿Esto?
Estoy esperando un trabajo en Minnesota. Para que nos vayamos en 3 semanas. Para que firmes el permiso de salida.
¿La están pasando bien? ¡No! ¿No? Ustedes me quieren meter en problemas.
Mamá no va a saber nada porque nadie le va a decir. Si no firma, no vas a poder sacar a las chicas del país.
Yo también tengo derechos. Soy su padre.
Que hayas pasado unos días con las chicas no significa que sepas lo que es mejor para ellas.
Las chicas solo tienen miedo de irse. Nos escapamos, reina.
¿Y quién es tu papá?
Es agente secreto.
¿Ah, sí? ¿Y yo quién soy? ¿El Chapulín Colorado?
I'll have to admit, Reinas was a film we had our eye on since its premiere at Sundance last year. And we actually wanted it for the 40th, but they were still in the early stages of securing deals and distribution and all that good stuff. And we finally got it. So tell me, Pepe, Reinas, what really, what's the wait worth it?
That is the payoff of patience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we aim to get films that are really relevant. Now we are talking about Reinas, but also it's a Spanish film made by a well-recognized woman who is dealing with the YouTube movement that it happened in Spain before here, and a woman who really wanted to get self-respect and fight against the establishment and ultimately ends winning. And that is Zaire Boyaid. Unfortunately, she can't be in Chicago, but the film is here. So I am Nevenka. So it's a film. Mm-hmm. And what happens in film happens in politics. We talk about Eva Perón, and then Isabelita Perón, and then Chile had a president, woman president, and Brazil had a president as well. Colombia now had a black vice president. So women are playing the role. And film is not an exception. Literature is a great number of writers, female writers writing phenomenal stories. So the film festival, since day one, it has to be a reflection of what we have. And what we have is plenty of talent, plenty of beauty and stories that need to be shared. And people need to be aware of who we are by what we do. And we reach out to the artists, we reach out to the talent. And that is the way we have been really breaking stereotypes, creating a new sense of unity among ourselves. It is not about one country. It is about all of us. And the united Latinos is what really makes sense and where the power is. It's not about one single country, one single community. It's how can we together. And there's a lot of difference. And primarily what we do is celebrate the difference that exists among ourselves. We really put aside the concept that my country is better than yours or yours. It's different. And in the difference when we find this extraordinary wealth that defines who we are.
Sandra, you've also been working alongside Pepe in, inviting guests to the festival, filmmakers, what have you. How many guests are we expecting at this point? And tell us a little bit about, because a lot of people, don't realize that most of these films are followed by a Q&A with the director, an opportunity to talk to the director, ask questions of the director about the process of filmmaking, etc. How many guests do we expect to have this year? And tell us a little bit about the Q&As and what do you expect also people to get out from the Q&As?
Well, that's a very good question, Alejandro, because this year we will have over 50 guests. And because last year I was involved in hospitality, I can tell that our directors from short films are also super interested to be here. So this year we have identified an increased number of short film directors that will join us. So I invite all the people to check on the website because we are gonna include the information on who's coming and all the short films and directors that have somebody coming over to Chicago. We're gonna get a Q&A after the features and the short films. So it's gonna be a very good, interesting conversation for the audience also to talk directly to the directors and, get in a little bit more information and get in-depth conversations about it.
One thing that I think should be added is that we pair each short with a feature, but the pairing is not done, haphazardly. We try to pair them thematically or stylistically, or so that if we have a feature and a short filmmaker together, we can sort of start a conversation along those lines that makes it much more interesting to the public.
Yes, that's true. And the idea about finding that red line or, that connection between the short film and the feature is just to connect two themes, or it could be by the genre, or it could be even just for the people to get ready. So the short film is going to be the start of what will come next with the feature. So that would be fantastic to have them all here.
Perfect. I think we're getting close to the end. Any final words from either of you? Short.
Yes, I would say mixing politics and cinema. I forgot the president of Mexico. When I say the women, the power, and so they are there, and it's half of the population of women, so why not? And reality shows that many women making films, many women involved in politics, and the latest is the president of Mexico.
Sandra?
Yes, we'll invite them all to check on our website. We have the opening and closing night coming soon. We are happy to have all the people coming over to celebrate with us. On the 3rd of April, it's going to be our opening night, and then the 14th, it's the closing. So these 10 days are going to be full of talent, stories, and community to share and have conversations around films, which is something that we all love.
One more thing, folks. In most cases, this will, regardless of how many streaming services are out there, the reality is that still 90% of these films at the festival have not secured a streaming deal or a distribution deal, and could very well be the only time you see these films on the big screen in Chicago. So do not dilly-dally, do not drag your feet. This is your one and only chance to watch these films as they're meant to be seen on the big screen with a whole bunch of other folks that you can engage with and share your feelings about. Just one reminder, Sandra mentioned all the information about ticketing, programming, merchandise, passes are available now on our website, ChicagoLatinoFilmFestival.org. It's live, it's dynamic, there are trailers there. There might be some additional content in the form of blogs, a list of the visiting filmmakers. So I do encourage you to visit our website at ChicagoLatinoFilmFestival.org. And on behalf of Pepe and Sandra and the entire team of the Latino Film Festival, thank you for tuning in. Good night.